We're live? Perfect.
Yeah, I'm awesome.
Is Gary coming
Yes,
through? All right, I can start with that one. You don't have a spare pen. I interestingly enough, here's all my pens out of my.
There you go.
Oh, I have one, never mind. Thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah, that's the one down.
All right, it is 7:02 p.m. Let us begin the Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, August 3rd. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Rich Tachi.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we don't have any public hearings, so we're going to go through this part of the meeting pretty quickly in order to get to the new business portion of the meeting. I have the July 6, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees minutes. I'm going to make a motion to approve. Actually, first I want to ask, does anybody have any corrections or changes? I should ask that. That being said, no, I'll still make the motion. Ms. Dorfman seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Item 2. Heather, you want to present Treasurer's report?
The claims are here for your approval. We did open 2 new CDs with Flagstar, 6-month and a 9-month, as we discussed. We've received about 93% of village taxes, and we're going to send out delinquent notices this month as required. And our auditors are here at the end of the month, so we should expect the auditor's report in probably a few months.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm going to make, so the abstract is rather large this month, and the thing I'm going to point out is that since we completed early our annual paving project, that dollar figure is in here. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the July abstract for a grand total of $674,270.34. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All opposed? Nobody. Next, we have public comment. So is anyone here to speak about something that is not on the agenda? So, that being said, let's go to new business. We have a presentation that we have received from the Roslyn Fire Department, and it is seeking, or they are seeking, to increase their benefit program in order to help attract and retain members. Rich, are you going to make the presentation to the board? We have a lovely podium.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Taji. I'm the board chairman of the Roslyn Highlands Fire Department, also a lifetime member. Firefighter Walter Taji, firefighter Dan Davidson are here to assist us with the presentation. We'll have a question and answer after he finishes the presentation. So we're going to let you guys see it for me, because as soon as you get the screen to work. So if you guys want to observe, you can follow along.
Yes, the projector decided not to work
Do you
today.
have printout of this we can have? All right, you have a printout of the presentation?
Yes.
Why don't we,
Everybody does it.
I can share with Mac. No, I mean, I can share with him if you need copies. Yeah, so I can.
Who wants it?
David does.
Yeah.
This is a shelf on it.
Would you want me to start?
Yes, you might go short in the presentation.
So for those following along, we're going to be on page 2. So we're proposing, and it's been approved by the LoSAP board, to be brought to the municipalities, an amendment to the benefit to our volunteer firefighters. As many of you know, there's a LoSAP program, which is a length of service award program, which encourages firefighters to remain active and participate. And the benefit is currently $20 per year of service per month. And we are asking for an amendment to increase that to $30 per month per year of service. And increasing the service cap. So today, members are eligible to earn up to 30 years of creditable service, but increase that to 50 years of creditable service. So ultimately, that increase will cost the municipalities as a whole $140,000. Specifically to Flower Hill, it'll be $10,298, or about 7.4% of that $140,000
That's per year.
per year. On a per parcel basis, that's less than $20 per year. That assumes 519 taxable parcels per district. But ultimately, that saves the residents and taxpayers of Flower Hill a lot. And I'll get to that in a moment. But just to let you know what's been happening over the years, since 1997, so almost 30 years, the number of fire and EMS calls have nearly doubled. And the number of volunteers has almost halved. So that's what we're struggling with and why we're asking for, to increase the incentive to make members active, to recruit members and to retain members. It's not just happening in the Roslyn Fire District, so on page 4. So this is happening all across Nassau County. So for the first time in history, one of our county fire departments has had to dissolve or close. And that was Floral Park Center Fire Company. The number of volunteers we have in our ranks has decreased from 10,000 to fewer than 7,000 for a county of about 1.5 million residents. In many cases, we have to bring on other fire departments to support us, and that's called mutual aid. There are overall 71 volunteer departments. Nearly all of them are volunteer departments in Nassau County. On page 5, it's really the same story across New York State and across the country. I'm not going to go through all the statistics there, but you'll see it's a consistent decline in the number of volunteers, an increase in the number of emergency calls, and there have been a number of fire departments across the state that have had to close down. Volunteer firefighters are a big part of our heritage. 2/3 of all firefighters in the United States are volunteers. So why is this happening? I mean, why are we having fewer and fewer numbers? There's much more training requirements as the complexity of fighting fires, the complexity of automobile accidents, especially now with electric vehicles, have a whole new way of operating around those. 2 incomes, long commutes, the days of the single income family is no longer there. So there's less time for volunteering. More calls, as we talked about, and Long Island's cost of living has increased. So as I mentioned before on page 7, I'm going to talk about what the benefits are of a volunteer service. So every year, fire departments across New York State save about $5 billion in taxpayer money. If we were to convert all the volunteer firefighters to career firefighters, the state would need about 30,000 professional firefighters. That would increase property taxes by at least 25% right off the bat. And that's not to mention the startup costs of having to create career departments. So there's a huge economic benefit, right? So the $140,000 we're asking for an increase into the LoSAP program. it isn't even like a third of hiring one full-time, 24/7 firefighter coverage. So it's a big benefit to our community. These two changes on page 9 are going to help solve our retention and recruitment issue challenges. As I mentioned, it's not just us, it's the county, the state, the country. Just to give you a sense that the benefit hasn't changed since 1996, but over that time, inflation has more than halved the value of that $20, right? So that $20, you would need $42 today to cover that $20 back in 1996. And still, the $30 we're asking for is well below the original commitment. Milestone awards like LoSAP are ranked the second highest retention intervention, and it's appreciated by, listed as the highest retention intervention by 58% of members and 61% of leadership. And New York State recently defined LoSAP as to facilitate the recruitment and retention of active volunteers. So that's really what we're asking for. It's not the only tool we have in our pockets, right? We're doing lots of things for recruitment. We have active and ongoing recruitment of both firefighters and EMTs across both departments in the Roslyn district. We have free, fully funded training through the Nassau County Fire Services Academy, as well as in-house programs, and that's no cost to our members. There are multiple ways to serve as a firefighter, EMT, as a more experienced firefighter, giving guidance to younger people, playing administrative roles and leadership roles. And recruitment is embedded into our service, right? When we go to calls, we ask for recruitment. Sometimes we do fire safety activities at schools, at parks, and we hand out recruitment materials there. And we do participate in statewide activities as well. So it's not, LoSAP isn't the only fix, it's just one we're here to ask for your help with. We're doing all these other things as well. So I think that's basically it. So like I said, we're asking for an increase of $140,000 a year to increase the benefit from $20 per month per year of service to $30 per month per year of service, and raising the cap of earning that benefit from 30 years to 50 years. And again, the cost of Flower Hill is less than $20 per parcel.
Right, thank you. So I just want to make one comment. So I sit on the Port Washington LoSAP board. One thing you didn't mention is the cost of equipment in the challenges that the fire departments are facing. When I first found out what the cost of a helmet that a fireman uses, the oxygen tanks, it blew my mind at the cost of these things. And, that puts a tremendous struggle on the Port Washington Fire Department. So I just wanted to make sure that the public understood that that's one of the other challenges that volunteer fire departments are facing. It's this increased cost in the equipment.
There have been a lot of articles in the press about private equity firms acquiring a lot of these equipment manufacturers and dropping the prices. So there has been a lot of press around that. I mean, there's also a lot of compliance changes. The National Fire Protection Association has increased standards. But again, all this equipment is really to help us get closer to you and your family should a fire accident happen, right? So it's really to give us the protection so that we can get closer to you and rescue you.
And I think some of the requirements changed on the equipment the last couple of years. And
Oh,
Rich was
yeah.
telling us that you have to, there's newer equipment you need for the individual firefighters, and the older equipment needs to get mothballed in essence.
Yeah, that's right. It's looking, it's not cheap.
Right.
So,
We use better radios, those are very expensive.
Mhm.
We have different regulators, every time something comes out new as far as the equipment goes, it's mandated either by the state or FASD or.
And maintaining the
Yeah.
trucks,
Excuse me?
the truck maintenance is also, and keeping the trucks up to,
Our trucks
current
are
standards.
At least 10, 12, I mean, people like 10,
We
12 years.
typically keep them longer than the recommended.
Yeah, well, they're over $1 million now before you even blink an eye.
so can I?
Yeah, please.
I'm just me confused, so maybe other people aren't confused, but so the 140,000 is for the Roslyn Fire District?
As a whole, all the municipalities that are covered by the Roslyn Fire District.
Okay, so in other words then, since we are Roslyn, Manhasset, what?
I can help you on this one.
We're right.
Okay.
You're not.
The Roslyn Fire District is one of the largest fire districts on Long Island. Okay, we cover approximately 17 square miles. Okay, compared to like Bayville, they cover 1.7 miles, and they make the same. Okay, it's totally unbalanced because of the areas that we have to cover. Give you an example. We are at CW Post. We are at Long Island University 133 times last year. Okay, that's 133 times you gotta get a truck out. Not only a truck, sometimes an ambulance, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of wear and tear on the equipment. Now, the villages that we cover are Flower Hill, East Hills, Brookville, Roslyn Harbor, Roslyn Estates, Village of Roslyn, North Hills, Old Westbury, Town of North Hempstead, and the Town of Worcester Bay. They are all contributors.
And it's not the
to
whole,
LoSAP.
of these other villages, like in Old Brookville, it's a small,
Yeah,
little
yeah.
teeny portion
With
of
the
it.
school.
They pay
But-
less than 1%.
Right.
of the contribution.
140,000 is for the 8 municipalities, plus the town of Worcester Bay and the town of North Hempstead, which encompasses Brookville and Boston Heights. So it's split among those 10 entities, 140,000.
Well, Roslyn Heights is Manhasset.
Roslyn Heights is.
No.
is just-
Oh, no, right, I'm thinking, all right, you're right.
North Hempstead. I lived in Roslyn Heights for 46 years, and I always thought that Roslyn Heights was a part of the village of Roslyn, until I started studying this. Okay, and I made a few mistakes along the way, but the more you went into this, the more complicated it becomes. You have a few in Flower Hill, a couple of fire departments, fire districts.
3.
Three. Brookville has seven.
Mhm.
Okay, North Hills has seven.
Mhm.
So it's complicated. And I know it's complicated for you,
Yes.
you know, so it's complicated for you, it's complicated for us. And my brain, I'm telling you, it was like Stevenson, I was saying, are you still, what are you doing?
Yeah, I believe Roslyn Fire District is the third largest in that city. By area.
Possibly. So what everyone needs to understand from board perspective is even though this increase only affects the Roslyn residents of Flower Hill, this sum of $10,298, which will probably go up each year, actually affects our budget. Because if we're looking to keep the budget, the total budget under the state tax cap, I now need to offset $10,298 to our total budget because of this, because our budget, even though the fire department for Port and Manhattan and Roslyn is a pass-through, it's part of our budget. So every dollar that this increases, I have to cut something else in order to stay under the tax cap.
That may change over a few years, okay? The fund of our program, which we have, I don't know, you're familiar with the LoSAP board, it's a representative of each municipality.
Yeah, I'm on it.
He's on.
You're on it, okay.
And I'm on the Roslyn.
And he's
The
on
question
the-
was, are you familiar with it?
Okay, but the funds, we're pretty much almost 100% funded right now. So what's gonna happen now as time goes forward further, that we get 5.5% interest on the funds. So that's gonna increase the funds available, which may lower, within a few years, it might lower the cost. It's a possibility, not a definite.
It depends on the market. It depends on how many firefighters start taking the benefit.
Exactly.
There's a thousand
There's
different permutations. So yes.
So it's complicated.
But I just want everyone on the board to realize that
Yeah.
this number affects the entire village just from a budgetary. It's not isolated on its own. It's just part of our general budget.
I have read, and I'm not an attorney, maybe it's worth asking the village attorney, is there are ways of, with certain approvals and things like that, to have this excluded from that budget increase cap. I can share some research on that. But
It-
you have to.
If you could, that would be very eye-opening, because I have never heard of that being mentioned before, because that question has come up, so that would be good. Before I open this up to the residents, do I have any other questions from the board?
Well, yeah, I do have a question. I should know this. What's our budget year? Like, is it January to January?
Negative. It's June 1 to
Okay.
May 31st.
January 1st through December 31st of the fiscal year.
That's them,
That's them, but ours is June.
Right.
correct.
I mean,
So May 31st.
So when do you want to implement?
well, this goes implemented January 1st of 27, but there's no, for the firefighters to start accruing the time, but the first payment's not gonna be until 2028.
The
AJ,
increase won't take effect.
we also left out some of the
2028 budget.
mechanics of this. We are not approving this payment tonight.
No, I understand that.
We are approving the, moving forward to let the voters of the Roslyn Fire Department in Flower Hill vote in a to-be-determined date referendum. If that referendum passes by all the participating districts, or municipalities, then that increase could happen. This tonight is just to allow a referendum at a date to be
We're
determined.
giving a green light to them too. As one of the municipalities, that they have 7 other municipalities get a green
Affirmative.
light on.
The
Right.
final decision is the public. We-
Yes.
We make no, we have no authority to do it, we don't have any authority to do it. So, we
I was
just,
just
we
concerned about.
recommend, we present, you implement to the public, and whatever happens, happens. I mean,
So help educate us on the referendum. Each village picks their own date, or is there a thought of all the villages and municipalities having it on the same date?
okay, I believe that once you agree to the referendum, you have between 60 and 90 days to vote. So the first thing that's gonna happen is that you're gonna get, once you approve this and signed off, you pick a date, time, and place, and location of voting, then that information goes to PenFlex. PenFlex takes care of all the board's finances.
Educate them who PenFlex is.
PenFlex is hired by the VOSAP board, that they take care of all the finances, or they make sure everybody gets paid, they make sure everybody's.
They're the administrator of the LoSAP program.
If a firefighter passes away.
They're the administrator of the program.
You make sure they make sure that the family gets taken care of.
So the referendum in theory would be here at Flower Hill?
The referendum will be here.
Who pays for the who pays for I assume we have to hire our normal
Okay. let me just-
people to run this election. Well, so I'm asking, I just asked the question, who's paying for it?
Okay, I don't have it.
Or what do we typically pay
Okay,
our
this
two?
is how it works, from what don't quote me on this, this came from the computer. Okay, approval by each entity. Consolidation is approved only if a majority of the voters of the local government entity votes in favor. The entire consolidation plan fails if it is rejected in even one municipality. In other words, if one municipality votes it down, it's over.
Right.
Okay, then the referendum details, the vote must occur at a special election or potentially a general election held between 60 and 90 days after the governing board's body resolution. So, public notice must be published in the local newspaper for 4 consecutive weeks prior to the referendum. The notice must include a summary of the joint consolidation agreement and the proposed name and territory of the new entity. PenFlex, once he gets all your information, your voting information, he will prepare the public notice for you.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So the village is paying
the
to
village
run,
pays
we're
just
paying to run the
just for
election.
voting.
Okay.
That's it. And then anything else is paid through everything else that we're doing is paid through the plan, which was approved by the board.
And then I assume, Marla, we have to get from the Board of Elections the most current voter roll, I guess.
If there's more current than was in March, yeah.
Okay, that's another
Voter roll,
piece of the puzzle. Okay.
people that say-
I'm going to turn to the public in a second unless Mr. Smith has another question.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back to where it's coming from, in terms of the financing of this. Because we have elections for the board every year. Is there a reason why we couldn't pass this, say, in January, and then have this referendum on the ballot the same day we have our elections? Or is that going to be too late? Because the way I look at it in my brain is if it's voted on at the meeting where we're voting for the next board, which is in the spring, we don't have to finance this until after our budget next year, so we can account for the $10,000 without having to make any inter-year budgetary changes. Or does this thing have to get financed before that? That's what I'm asking.
It has to be, in order for this to go into effect January 1st, all the voting has to be done prior to December 31st.
Oh, this year?
Of this year, it has to be done
Okay.
two weeks prior.
That's the question.
But the
I believe it's
financial
2 weeks
obligations are
prior
until
to the
next January.
28.
So that's a new year.
Yeah, so 2028.
So AJ, doesn't happen until 2028, the financial obligation.
You
So
don't
we
have,
really don't have to make any budget adjustments, we'll just do a budget accounting for this.
Right.
Just next year's budget will have to,
We'll have to
account
account
for
for it in the
Yeah,
first
half a year.
semester.
Yeah, Nate.
But it doesn't have to screw around with anything that's
And
current.
it would only be a half a year.
But this vote has to take place before the end of the year.
yes, and we're shooting for November. Some municipalities are gonna be able to do it earlier because they're already in the process of getting a date right in place.
Well, that's also begs my point, which was that I don't want to have to pay to do a separate election here, because we got to open a place, we got to let people in. But there's going to be an election in November, we could have this on the ballot the same day.
so the reason that's a good idea, but it won't work.
Uh-oh.
The Roslyn people do not vote here. We vote in Roslyn Village Hall. That's our normal, for general election, polling place. The only time Roslyn residents vote here is in village elections. So that means we would have to run this election out of the Roslyn, yeah. I think that would possibly be a problem.
See, because us Manhasset people, we vote here. So it would have been easier.
No, we're gonna have to do a special election.
We have to do a special
We would
election.
have to do a special election.
Okay.
I just want the public to know that there's an additional cost that we have to.
No, I understand that. That's why I tried to avoid that, but
Yes.
obviously we can't.
Yeah, one of the other villages are trying to do that, and they might not be able to pull that off either. All right, I'm going to ask the public if they have any questions, and I think David Frankel, you might have some questions.
Is that the end of the whole presentation?
Yeah, they're at the end of their pages. Yeah. And I did forward, so Rich, and Rich, the questions I received that I forwarded to you last week were from David. You can either sit or be at the podium, wherever you want to be, David.
I'll stand here.
Okay.
But I have questions I'd like to ask these gentlemen.
Because this is not a public hearing, you can ask them the questions. That's
I
okay.
can't hear you. I have a hearing aid, sir. Go ahead.
You have them in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Usually you could hear me. I'll allow, normally in a public hearing, you would address the board, but this is not, no, this is not. You can address to the fire department.
I'll give it to you.
No, I'll let you, but if we, David, if we start going on big tangents, I'm reeling it back in.
This will take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then I've got my questions for the board or for the gentleman. Good evening, members of the board and my neighbors. My name is David Frankel. I'm a resident and taxpayer in Flower Hill. I want to begin by stating clearly that everyone in this room deeply respects our volunteers. They step up when you need them most. However, respect does not exempt an any agency from fiscal transparency. The fire department is currently requesting a massive 50% increase in the LoSAP, monthly payout multiplier, alongside expanding the service cap from 30 years to an unprecedented 50 years. This effectively locks our taxpayers into a legacy compounding pension liability that stretches out half a century. Yet, they have provided zero detailed assumptions, zero actuarial costs, zero data sheets to prove this will improve emergency response and increase the retaining and recruiting of volunteers. In 2026, we cannot solve 21st century staffing challenges by simply throwing 1970s style pension money at them. Expanding a pension cap to 50 years means that we are incentivizing 70-year-olds to remain on active rosters. Firefighting is a brutal and dangerous frontline job. Is it safe for them? And is it a high utility use of tax dollars? Instead of committing millions in permanent unfunded pension debt to recruit more bodies, the village should consider demanding a possible one-time capital investment review into modern technologies and methodologies. Implementing automated incident reporting software, as Frank probably knows, can cut administrative burnout by 70%. Launching a drone as first responder program might allow the fire department to visually verify automatic fire alarms in 3 minutes, meaning that we can cancel the fire truck dispatches for false alarms before a single volunteer leaves their bed. We may be able to make our current volunteer roster twice as efficient through technology without creating a massive tax burden. I asked this board to table any referendum on LoSAP expansion until an independent actuary provides a full, transparent report to the public and not look at just the work of a professional service consultant that is being paid and influenced by the Roslyn Highlands Fire Department. That's my introduction.
Who's being paid by this?
I'm sorry, what's it?
Who's being paid by? What's your next
I'll show you your best name is
My new last name is Tashi.
Tashi.
First name is
Are
Richard.
you a professional consultant?
No.
Okay, then I have no other professional consultants consult with the
Our
Roslyn Fire
our professional consultant is Penflex. Penflex is the actuary consultant that the board deals with.
Okay,
This is not a gimmick to change the world here. We're just, you're talking about a 50% increase from $20 to $30. You know what a 2% increase is $20 is? It's 40 cents.
yeah, we're gonna address
That's
that
40
to the board,
cents.
because
Okay?
I have some comments.
All right,
about
David,
that.
address the board with your next.
Yeah, so let me just address the board, and you can address or readdress, I appreciate the questions. But I'll actually skip ahead, because these are things, I've never heard of LoSAP before 3 weeks ago. This was all predicated on Randall's letter that he sent out. And the more I dug into LoSAP, I realized I know nothing about it. I need to learn about it if this board is even going to consider a referendum, which you don't have to consider a referendum. You could just defer on this. And I don't think a referendum should even be contemplated until you get to your residents viable information. So you talk about 40 cents and you bring up numbers. I had asked a question, and I'm asking the board to find out on my behalf. And I want to know if this is an accurate calculation that I did. Under the current program at $20 a month and 30 years of future value, not present value, but future value cost per individual, once LoSAP begins at the entitlement age, the cost overall for that person would be $144,000 to $216,000, assuming the individual's maxed out their LoSAP. This would be at $7,200 a year per year for 20 to 30 years. And under the $30 per month request, which you talked about, and 50 years of volunteer service, the future value payout would be between $360,000 and $540,000 on an annual cost of $18,000. Now, I may be wrong about my calculation, and I'd like you to address that because it gets, if you would, to the board, it gets to the heart of the matter here. And I think what I'd rather do is just read some more questions. I think that the fire department needs to answer these questions before you even consider a referendum, because there's so much from the presentation that there are no data points, in my opinion. I want to ask, it's hard for me to ask you and the board. because I'm
Mr. Franklin, you want us to answer?
Answer that question? We have actually.
Ask the board, that's fine.
Answer, please.
Pamphlets and their actuary individuals and their accountants figured it out. It says, I'll read you what the response is.
Mhm.
While your math correctly adds up the total cash payments over retiree's lifetime, it overstates the actual cost of the program. Because the investment fund continues to earn interest about 5.25% annually, the actuary only needs approximately $93,000 at age 62 to support a lifetime benefit of $600 per month, rather than the $144,000 to $216,000 implied by simply returning future payments.
So my calculations are accurate then. What you're, I mean, I'm not here to question you, I'm just addressing to the board. Essentially, what you're doing is you're saying the compound interest on the investment for the actual money that they have on the fund that's contributed to each year offsets some of the costs. I'm just trying to bring out to the board the raw cost.
Send the response in writing.
The raw cost jumps dramatically with a huge increase in the per month. Let me just kind of read some of these questions because I think that's the best way to get a sense.
Well, we've received the questions already.
Well, no, we
and
haven't gotten them all.
Are these new questions?
I have more questions than what the board, I sent the board.
Oh.
So those were numerical questions which I was hoping I would get an answer.
I think in the interest of time, I'm going to not allow any new additional questions. You can send that to the board in writing.
Well, I'm going to send it to the board. I'll be glad to do that.
Because you had the
And I want to
opportunity,
make-
David, you had the opportunity last week, which you did, and you sent us
Okay.
10
Well,
points, which is really 11
general
points. But I'm trying to keep this flowing, and I don't think we can answer more questions.
Look, in deference to what you want to do, I will defer much of what I will send then to the board in detail. And I'd be glad to send it to the Roswell Highlands Fire Department as well. I believe that they should answer these questions on their behalf for the board, for presentation to the residents so that the residents can have a police.
How about those
Now,
questions?
one thing I want to make a point.
Those
of,
questions will come to us,
Correct.
and we will send them to the fire department.
Well, you can do what you want with them. I will certainly send them to you, and I'm certainly free to send them.
Of course you are.
Okay.
So if you want to do
Anywhere
that, then you can do that.
But I want to make one point from the presentation the fire department made. And that is that we're talking retention and we're talking recruitment. That's the whole genesis of this conversation. And I went and dug into this. And by the way, LoSAP is way down on the list in terms of retaining and recruiting young volunteers. And I think that needs to be addressed. The LoSAP increase is generally favored by far the older, established, entrenched folks that have been volunteering for years. What in fact, and I will send this to you as well, the main reasons for losing volunteers, we haven't even talked about volunteers that you've lost, volunteers that you've come in, there's no numerical data here. You can't be judged on any of this, the way this is presented. But the first thing you have to do in recruiting for every department across the country is reform some things as a general rule. And I'll just read very briefly, a toxic culture usually exists, and that's the top driver in the volunteer fire departments for resignations. Fixing interpersonal dynamics is the highest priority solution. Way down on the list is the LoSAP. Then they're talking about when officers fail to support their crews, they talk about membership dissolves. Leaders must shift from rigid authority figures to supportive figures. There's a litany of
David,
things that need to be done.
what is your source?
My source is, and I will be glad to do that, is the National Volunteer Fire Council.
Okay.
That is my source. So I can tell you that you've only scratched the surface in my opinion.
Mr. Frankel, we have a survey by the National Volunteer Fire Council conducted in 2020 that specifically mentions milestone awards like LoSAP is ranked second highest retention intervention, with 58% of members and 61% of leaders saying that they would help them stay.
Right, which you put in the presentation. Thank you.
That was interesting when you made that comment to the board. Those are canvassing your members. I'm talking about a full canvassing of the community and the way things are being run. In terms of trying to fix volunteer fire departments where you have attrition and you have turnover, LoSAP for a 20, 25-year-old is really far down on the list. Where it's really high on the list are the people who are aging out and the people who want to, I mean, there's so many technical questions which Randall has told me not to get into, and I'll send them in writing, but we don't have the data or the metrics to recommend, in my opinion, to the citizens and the folks in Flower Hill, even considering holding a referendum until they can understand, if they choose to do so, the dynamics of how this program works and when it does work and when it doesn't work. I couldn't, okay, I'm going on a tangent, so I want to bring up that point.
David, one more point,
Okay, that point is
then you will
technology.
yield the floor.
And in terms of reducing costs, I don't care that you had 120 people and now you're down after 40 years or 30 years down to 60. Maybe you should only have 30 volunteers. Maybe AI, maybe technology. I don't know the answers to this, any of this. But I will tell you, if you're not investing in drones, if you're not investing in new software, if you're not investing in what is an agenda for making things more efficient, I don't know how many people you need. It seems to me, until you give us information, that's real information, I don't think we can do anything except, okay, it's gonna cost, what did you say, 40 cents, whatever it was you were using. You guys use low numbers. It's a marketing brochure that I just read. I'm sorry to say this, I'm for LoSAP, but I'm not just for writing a check. And you might say it's $10,000 a year. Well, I can tell you the legacy costs to the volunteer firemen that have maximized out their credits, who have been there for 20, 30 years, now going to 50 years, and doubling the monthly stipend. There's gotta be a real future value cost to all this, and you don't bring it out in the presentation.
We're not doubling.
David.
We're not being doubled. And first of all, we're not looking for 18, 21-year-old volunteers. We're looking for older folks. We're looking for 30-year-old folks.
Well, I never saw that in any presentation.
Well, you gotta ask the right question.
Well, but they're limiting my time. I have a zillion questions for you, and I'm only saying, I'll get my questions.
I really honestly think that you have something against it, okay?
Absolutely.
You guys,
I have lived here for 46 years.
Yeah, can we, thank you.
I've lived here for
All right,
46 years.
thank you,
I was
David.
fired- I was
David,
fired-
you are now yielding the floor. Your time, you're yielding the floor, that your time is up.
Oh, come on.
Thank you,
That's it. I'll send the questions.
thank you.
Do what
Is
you
there
want.
anyone else from the public who would like to speak to the board?
I'm very much for the fire department,
All right,
but I think we should have transparency.
my friends at the fire department, do you have anything to add?
I'm ready for that.
Rich, you want to add something or end the conversation?
Honestly, I think we presented a good program.
I agree.
For increasing, you'll have an opportunity to vote, sir, just like everybody else. Okay, if you don't like what's going on, you can vote it down. Okay, that's your prerogative. That's your prerogative.
So, all right, I'm gonna end the back and forth. I don't have in my packet a copy of the resolution. Well, I would think the board would want to have this copy of the resolution in order for us to attempt to move forward. Thank you, Rich. Well, I have one, but I don't think the rest of the board has it.
We can send you a copy right now. if you don't.
We're not doing it.
We can vote to have the resolution, or we can decide to table it.
No, I would vote to have it.
All right, I have a copy of the resolution.
You can read it.
It's very lengthy, so I don't think I'm going to read it. But basically, all the facts that are in here is exactly what was in the PowerPoint that the board has. And what I am looking for is a motion from the board in order to hold a referendum between 60 and 90 days from the board authorizing a referendum.
I'll make the motion.
Did I, anything else I need to add, Jeff? I don't need to do secret on this, do I?
No.
Oh, wait, I'm having a timeout. Yeah. We have them. All right. Thank you, Jeff, for clarifying. So again, I would like someone to make a motion on the board to hold a referendum between 60 and 90 days of approval of this resolution. It would be held at Village Hall. We would determine the date and hours probably at the next board meeting or subsequent board meeting. But Jeff, I don't need to make a secret.
No,
Good,
it's not.
just checking. So would someone like to make this
So
motion?
I made the motion.
Oh, Deputy Mayor Janice, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm going to ask the board to be polled. Ms. Wolfson, can you poll the board?
Trustee Smith,
Aye.
trustee Landowski,
Given that we're sending this for referendum, I vote aye.
trustee Dorfman. Aye. Mayor.
No, I'm last.
Yeah.
Trustee Collins. Yes.
I will vote aye because we are not
You didn't ask
approving.
me.
Oh,
Oh, was you?
Aye. Still have to.
yeah, you should poll anyway. I am voting aye because we are not approving this amount, but we are leaving it up to the public, those 500 plus households in Flower
Get
Hill.
Any additional information before the referendum?
So let me finish, Mr. Frankel. So we are voting to hold this referendum to let the residents of Flower Hill vote on the subject. And I will provide the residents with as much data as I possibly have. And we will post it on the website and I will put it in the mayor's newsletter and we'll let the public decide what they want to do. So I vote aye. Thank you, my friends from the fire department.
Thank
Thank you very much.
All right. Next item, we're looking to change the September 2026 Board of Trustees meeting to the 8th of September in order to balance out our month. If we waited another week, it would be way too late, and then we'd be owing a lot of our vendors monies and possibly accruing late fees. So that's being changed.
Wait, to the 8th?
Affirmative. I sent an email out to everybody.
Yeah, we have VOA.
From the 8th or to the 8th?
To the 8th.
And that's
It
a
was the
VOA.
14th.
I'm willing to miss the VOA. I'm the treasurer.
But
It's
Why
not,
don't we make it the?
no,
the
but the big
7th?
meeting isn't then in September. It's later.
Oh, is
move
it?
it to the following Monday.
Hold on a second. I have to help Frank with the calendar. It's the 10th.
Oh, okay.
They moved it to the 10th.
Gotcha. All right,
Yes.
that's-
So it's not a conflict with any of our other
Oh,
commitments.
I can't go to the 10th anyway.
There you
I
go.
have another appointment.
Okay. I'd like to make a resolution to declare the 2010 Ford Escape and 2
Did we
laptops.
change this?
Wait, did we vote on the other thing?
The September meeting, did you change it?
No, we're moving it to the 8th.
Wait,
I don't,
vote?
do we have to, I don't think we have to vote on it.
I wasn't clear, at least on.
We're all waiting to vote.
I'm making a statement that we're moving it to the 8th. Next, I'm going to make a resolution to declare the 2010 Ford Escape SUV and 2 laptops surplus. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Excellent. Bring in a couple of dollars. 2 items here. We have a tree remediation appeal. We'll start the one for 475 Manhasset Woods Road. I'll assume someone is here. Please.
Yeah, it came from our attention. I'm Victor D'Angelo, and my wife Mary Beth, we both live there. 5 kids still, not out of the house yet, so. So this birch tree that's been sitting in front of our house, I guess since the beginning, because my wife, she grew up in this house, and her parents built it. And the birch tree looks like it's diseased, and we feel like it should be removed before something dangerous happens. And then we found out that we have to put another tree in. Our situation is that we have too many trees right as we've got now, and we have a couple of dangerous ones that are actually encroaching on the house now. And, we're just looking for relief on having to add another tree in front of the house, because we kind of throw over a tree,
So it doesn't have to be in front of the house. It could be anywhere on the property.
Well, the backyard, we have a half an acre of a forest.
Oh, okay. It can be, I'm just letting you know, it could be
I
anywhere.
already have a forest in the backyard,
So you have the tree.
so I don't think I need to plant any more trees.
Right.
Around the house, like right now, I mean, we'll always take into consideration of adding trees, if we eventually have to remove more of these trees, we'll eventually replace them like we did already on the front of the house, we replaced one tree with another tree. But right now, we're just looking for, relief
Well,
to plant another tree.
go for it, Mr. Jeans.
Well, you can pay into the tree fund and it's $500. Yeah,
Right,
it's
that is the
$500
relief.
and that's the relief.
That's the relief the board came up with last year in
Well,
order.
that's one of the appeal, we're trying not to pay anything. 'Cause this
Well,
is-
that's not how it works though.
I mean, then we'll leave the tree and wait until it falls over the road and maybe kill somebody, so.
You just went on public record saying that, that's fine.
Well, I mean, you won't let me take the tree down.
You can take it down, you gotta pay $500.
Well, you could either replace the
That's why
tree.
we came here to the appeals, we didn't want to pay the $500.
Well, I don't wanna pay, I did renovate my house, I don't wanna pay permit fees, I paid them. I mean, a lot of people don't wanna pay things, but that's in that's the code of the village. You can either cut the tree down, or you can pay in and replace it, or you pay $500, not a lot of money, $500 into the tree fund.
5 kids, 3 in college. All right, so you're not gonna give us, all right. then.
Well, it's not up just to
No. it's-
Deputy Mayor
rest of the
Janice.
board
I
can-
mean, last year you made me take a tree down last year. That was perfectly healthy. You said it wasn't healthy, it was healthy, when I took the tree down.
Marla,
That cost me $3,000.
can you educate us why we allegedly?
Because we received a complaint about falling, it wasn't just one, it was a couple houses. So we had our arborist go out onto Manhasset Woods Road, and he identified the trees that were, he felt were not in danger of falling. And I guess so that was one.
Yeah, that's all.
So,
But he not really, he didn't identify this one.
This was the richest sick tree.
I understand.
But
is,
he didn't
is,
ask us for any money last year.
Because we were forcing you to take it down.
right, well, last year,
Well, maybe we forced him to take this one down. And that was it. The county arborist don't want to tell us to take it down.
so is anybody on the board interested in making a motion to grant relief for this application for 75 Manhasset Woods Road?
Why can't we have the arborist go and look at his dead tree then? Is that,
We-
when was the last time they?
It was determined to be dead.
What?
He approved, the removal is approved. What-
Oh.
What Mr. D'Angelo is objecting to is the replacement or any fee associated with dead tree.
Well, because we voluntarily this time tried to do it on our own. We didn't know about all this other stuff. So if you wanted us to have the arborist tell us to take it down, we'll just take it down.
Well, you applied for you applied to have the tree
We should
removed.
remove because it's diseased.
That was a different tree, correct?
Yeah.
So we're gonna only focus on this tree.
Yeah, this
Because that
tree is
application,
diseased
that has come and gone.
Yeah, she should come by and say it's diseased and tell us to take it down.
So,
We're not trying to like take it down because we want to get rid of the tree. We just want to just save lives, that's all we
okay, but so the removal is approved,
want. Okay.
but our village policy says you either need to replace a tree
Mm-hmm.
or or the relief, if there's no tree that can be placed properly,
All right.
the tree fund, which we use to plant other trees throughout the village.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a board member here who would like to entertain a motion to grant this relief. I'm looking to the left and I'm looking to the right. So I don't see anybody who wants to make a motion for this. So unfortunately,
All right, we'll just leave the tree then. Sorry.
okay,
It's your choice.
that's your choice. Mr. All right. The next application is tree remediation appeal for 124 Walnut Lane. I can't pronounce your last name because it's not clear.
My name is Bob Mackel. I'm here with my wife Cynthia. We live at 124 Walnut Lane, which is at the southwest corner of Walnut Lane and Dogwood Lane. We moved to Manhasset a couple of years ago and absolutely love it. We have only one regret, and that's we didn't come here 10 years ago. Because you guys have done an outstanding job making such a wonderful environment. So we have a corner lot, and technically, I guess the frontage that's along the shorter frontage becomes the front yard, and the longer frontage is the side yard. So, looking at our house from the front of it, the side yard that fronts on Dogwood Lane is our front yard, and we have a property that is about 138 feet wide and 126 feet deep. We have about 400 feet of shrubs lining the east wall, most of the south line, the west line, and part of the north line. That's a combination of arborvitaes and green giants. We have, though, a missing tooth at the back of the property, which is technically the side yard. There's about a 40-foot distance that, I'm happy to show you photos if you like. This is about a.
No, we got it. Yeah, we have copies. We're all looking at them, but thank you for providing them.
Okay, so we have about a 40-foot distance that has one maple tree in it that's leaning. Our request, we asked the arborist to take a look at this. Our request to take the tree out was denied. What we'd like to do is ask for a reconsideration to remove the tree and replace it with 18 green giants that would complete that line of shrubs along the south property line. The tree that's there is a maple tree. We have absolutely nothing against maple trees. We're happy to plant another maple tree somewhere on the property. We have a very large side yard, which is technically the front yard, which we're happy to plant the maple tree in or pay to the fund or do both. But we had our tree guy come and take a look at this, and they said that in order to plant the green giants, because you may say, well, why don't you leave the tree but put green giants a little bit over here and a little bit over here, that the root ball on these green giants is about 3 feet in diameter. And digging out to create the pocket for the root ball could harm the root system of the tree, making it weaker, and it
Right.
already is leaning very significantly
Of course.
towards the house. So we'd like a reconsideration to be able to remove the tree, replace it with 18 green giants along that south parameter, south property line, and put another maple tree on the technically front yard, but actually side yard.
Now, when you moved in, you cleaned up the copse of trees on the corner?
Yes, exactly.
That was all
There were-
crazy
there were
overgrown
four-
ivy?
There were 4 or 5 trees, one of which was dying, and then we had another pine tree that branches continually fell from. Most of it was dying, so we removed both of those, replaced them. What was the type of trees we put in?
We did 3 new crepe myrtles.
Crepe myrtles, replaced them, we did some nice new plantings. We think that the aesthetic, and this is partial, mostly for aesthetic reasons, partially for safety reasons. The tree is already leaning very significantly towards the house, but it's mostly for the aesthetics of it.
So
It sounds like you're replacing.
I don't understand, and Marla, help educate me. I maybe should have asked you beforehand. Why did this reach the Board of Trustees?
Why did it?
Right. Why did, because the applicant is looking to replace it with another tree.
He's kind of following the
It
rules.
was denied by the RPC.
The application was denied by the office.
But he can still cut the tree down if he agrees to replant the tree, correct?
Well, not always. Sometimes in
I
some
mean, it is
cases, no.
slanted. you know.
In
Sorry.
Go ahead.
in many cases, we don't just allow someone who wants to cut a
Yeah.
tree
So that's.
to come down. So okay, that was that case. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So just, you can bring it up separately in a second. Just for the record, arborvitaes are not replacement trees for deciduous trees. Planting an arborvitae does not equal out to a normal deciduous tree because there's very little carbon capture and nature doesn't live in arborvitaes. And listen, I have a bunch of arborvitaes, but they never replace the trees. So that's fine. I just want you to know it's a separate thing. But you did mention that you were willing to plant another tree, hopefully not a crepe myrtle, because I hate crepe myrtles. Marlon
Just because
doesn't.
I looked this up, just because I was totally curious, and it says, if this is right, a 3-degree giant produces 200 to 260 pounds of oxygen per year. A maple tree does 180 pounds to 260 pounds of oxygen
Yeah, I
per
thought it
year.
was the other way around, yeah. I thought.
No, it's about the same, so
Oh.
I'm just saying, if that's actually correct.
So-
18.
So this, listen.
How many are you gonna put? How many are you
18.
Well, you
18
want, but they want to
arborvitaes,
finish the
green
process.
giants.
I would make a separate argument, actually.
All right.
They're thinking clean air, but I'm thinking of natural habitat. And
Me too.
I think if you are gonna plant a deciduous tree, which we would highly support that, there are 2 things that we are promoting. I'm promoting one of them, but one of them that the village is promoting is that we do get more shade trees along our street line. And so I think you said side yard, which fronts Dogwood, perhaps maybe the southeastern corner of your side yard, if you will, would be.
Yeah, this is the
And
south,
I would,
that's
would-
the southeast corner.
yeah, I don't know, yeah, right.
It's a wall.
So
And, well, but there's another problem that we need to discuss.
Well, hold on. Let's do
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
separate.
agree.
No, we're gonna,
I agree,
since you
but
just brought it up.
I will,
So
I'm just saying I would promote,
I am-
let's finish.
I am willing to entertain, because this tree it's leaning, it's not all that great, and it's not all that attractive. I looked at the imagery that you provided, and I looked on Google Earth. I would be inclined, I think, to allow the removal of this tree if another suitable tree is planted on the property in a suitable location.
It's from the right away.
Well, we're going to get to that separately.
That sounds great.
All right.
If
So-
I could just add to that, Mayor,
Yes, please.
I would promote a oak tree versus a maple tree. Because oaks are known to promote a more varied habitat than
Birds.
than a maple.
Birds like.
Birds and insects.
And oaks are on our approved list,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Is an oak tree sufficient?
Of course,
Whatever you want.
you pick the tree.
As long as it's not a crepe
Wow.
myrtle. I despise, I don't like crepe myrtles. Because you can't climb them. They're not like the,
Because of the white.
and the pink flowers, and they have all the colors in the world. She loves them, I hate crepe myrtle. I just don't like them. It's a personal tree vendetta.
Divisive species.
It's a pretty tree. It's so pretty.
I don't like it. I don't like it. All right. So we're not gonna vote yet. I'm sorry, Gary. Gary just brought up another topic that I guess we'll talk before we approve this, or at least we'll make a motion to approve this tree request. Gary, bring up your topic, which he just tapped me on the shoulder about.
Yeah, look, corner lots are challenging. I actually own a corner lot, so I know what
Me
the challenges
too.
you face. Right, so we recognize the challenges. And how what's called a side yard. I have a similar issue. Mine's called a side yard, but it's really my backyard. Because I don't really have a usable, what would people consider would be the backyard. So, but I don't know if you did it or someone previously, but they planted in the right of way along Dogwood. So you have
Your arborvitaes.
Yeah.
Or green giants.
The arborvitaes along Dogwood actually are not on our property, they're on your property.
Right.
And I think they've been there for, it looked like they've been there at least 20 years, so it was done a long
Right.
time ago.
So we passed a recent code law that is trying to get plant materials, especially hedgerows like that, off the curb line because it's dangerous. Two cars passing each other and someone, a pedestrian or a bicyclist, that it's hard to manage that. So
And it did happen.
I think what we want to encourage is figure out what's the ultimate plan here to manage that. So even though it's the right of way, we technically, the village could do whatever it pleases. We're asking cooperation from the homeowner to manage that so that we can get safer streets.
So like your neighbor across the street did a wonderful job of doing a setback so that if you're walking, you have maybe your dog and a car's rushing by, there's nowhere to go. On your neighbor's property, there's somewhere for someone to quickly get off the street and be safe. This side with the crazy Amazon drivers, you're either jumping in your shrubs or you're getting knocked over by the truck. So Gary, what are you asking here?
Well, I don't know how we're enforcing this code, but I think we're trying to work with residents. And so that's why I think it's critical to think about what you want to plant as a replacement deciduous tree and what that would ultimately inform of how you would continue to figure out how you make your yard as usable as you can without encroaching onto the curb.
Sure, well, we're happy to do whatever makes you guys happy, so.
Well,
Just if you want us to plant an oak tree, we're happy to plant an oak tree. The arborist wants to come over and show us where you'd like it, happy to consider that. We have a pretty big, the front yard and the side yard is pretty large. We can plant it anywhere in there.
all right.
Did we change the rule when? We implemented this rule when?
It's in the last 12 months.
So it was this year. What does it say? Does it say all new installations or existing?
Well, I don't know what the question is, which one?
He's talking about the recent.
Yeah.
I'll let everyone else talk. We're speaking about the recent local law change within the last 12 months about growing things that are growing in the right of way.
Okay, so on the corners, it was one thing, 30 feet, 3 feet, and then it was 4 feet back, but But that was, I don't believe it was trees, I believe it was, bushes and things like that. Because Jack and I were just discussing about the street trees, because we don't want to have someone to plant, let's say, 4 feet back, and then in 15 years from now, you can have the same problem where it's growing into the road. So that's a more iffy question.
I think Frank is more asking about these arborvitaes.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just,
So-
yeah, how does that, did this say that, so if you have a current tree that's within 30 feet of a corner, you have to trim it back? That's for canopy trees, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, it isn't, it's for it's for bushes also?
That
It's really
was more like
precise.
vehicular,
At a time.
Yes,
vehicular visual rather than pedestrian safety.
Correct.
And I don't think you violate that. I mean, the
No,
crepe
they don't.
myrtles don't. What?
This does not violate
Right,
that at all. The
right,
sight lines are
right.
perfect.
Right,
I've
right.
walked by
So
this house many
my
times.
suggestion would be is you ought to look at, can you remove a few of those? Are they arborvitae too on Dogwood? Is that
Yeah.
what they are?
There are varieties along Dogwood, yes.
While you're putting in new ones, I don't know if they can relocate them or not. I don't know if they need to come down and new ones need to be replaced, but you could set in pockets along that wall. So that, in other words, you don't have to like remove all of them, but if there's a safety valve, if you will, or a safety space for a pedestrian or someone that could step off the road at some point rather than, you know, I'm up against a wall of arborvitae. I can't move anywhere. So
We'll ask the, our tree folks how old these probably are and what the size of the root
No,
ball is.
that
if they
just,
could be
that does not.
transplanted.
You don't need that.
We'll look into the feasibility.
And I think just like, you know, over time, if it can be improved, because it's, you know, we don't necessarily want to create a hardship, but we just want to be able to get
Here it goes.
cooperation from the residents on this.
okay, so you're concerned that if he plants these now, at some point, we'll be looking at that same thing where the hedges are right in the edge.
124 Walnut.
And
Thank you.
it would affect pedestrian safety, is that what you?
No, I'm talking about Dogwood.
He's talking, you're talking about the one tree, he's talking about a totally different area.
We've moved on from the
Yeah,
one tree.
the area was on
This is what
50,
he's talking
18 green giants.
It's-
28 feet away.
It's just you, by being so good at coming, I mean, being asked to come, I
So
guess.
these would
I'm
be,
not
they
even
didn't
sure.
touch those. Correct.
Randall pointed out, you actually exposed yourself to an issue that maybe you didn't realize you had.
So
I'm
here,
just trying to-
so here's what I'm
I'm
going.
really trying to educate you on it, that's all.
Time out. Here's what I'm going to ask for. I'm going to make a motion to approve the removal of the tree with a replacement of a oak tree with the placement at the direction of our village arborist. That works for you? I'm going to,
In consultation with, they don't want him to say, here's.
I agree with that. I was just about to say.
I
the
wouldn't
same
want to
thing.
say, oh, you got a plant, I mean, you have to have some say, it's his property.
Absolutely.
okay, with the consultation, it's always good to have an attorney on the board. We should have more, and we'll never get anywhere. With consultation with the village arborist, and I'm asking for a commitment from you to do your best to trim those arborvitaes on Dogwood to provide a safe space for pedestrians, bikers, and all that other stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's not removing the right of the village to ask you to remove them at a future date if it's deemed a danger. But that's all I think I'm asking for is just for your commitment that you will continue to maintain them so they're not overgrowing into the actual street. So we have a clear path so people don't get killed. So I'm making that motion. Does anyone want to second it?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being so cooperative.
Yeah.
Yes.
And pleasant.
Happy to have them. Thank you for making such a nice environment for us to live.
I wish you moved here 10 years earlier. Because what was growing on the corner there was terrible. It was all overgrown and right. When you guys did the work on the house and you started trimming all that back, I said, "Oh, finally." No, it's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night. All right. Last item on new business is Touch a Truck 2.
Yay.
Two.
That's the rain date. The date is Saturday, September 26th, rain date is 27th.
Thanks, Mom. So we'll add it into 6.
I,
So-
the touch truck is Saturday, September 26th,
6.
and the 27th is the.
It's been a
26th.
year. Wait, we did it in the spring. Or no? It's been a year.
We did it in October 4th.
Yeah, it was the fall. I remember.
This year it's going to be better. And you know why? We're going to have a bubble truck. Holy cow.
A what truck?
A bubble truck.
It doesn't matter. My grandson will lose his mind anyway. when he hears about
Bubble
this.
truck. That's
He
the,
had
we,
the best time ever last year.
we're going to try to bring even bigger and better
Can't
equipment
believe
this year.
it's been a year.
Oh, thank you for joining us, Mr. Olinsky. I told you I could give you free time. Would you like to present the ARC report? What?
Do we have to approve the touch truck?
No,
No.
I'm
Why,
informing.
are you against it?
I want to make a motion.
You wanna?
There might be an irate resident who's going to be upset that we're buying a couple of plastic hard hats for the rest of the kids. The ARC report, Mr. Olinsky, please.
Okay, July 27th, AFC report. Two items were on our review. 1045 North Boulevard, that's called New U. They did have an approval and came back with a modification for the location and the color, and that was submitted as approved. New application 117 Hemlock. So additions and over, new family residence. We had, see a number of comments there. We asked them to come back and respond to those comments.
Excellent. Is anyone there's no one from the public here, but does anyone have any comments? Does anyone on the board have any comments? No comments, therefore I'm going to make a motion to accept and approve the ARC report of July 2026. Thank you, Trustee Frankel. All in favor? Aye. Trustee Lewandowski will abstain as always. You guys,
Can I ask just a quick question? Are you leaving or are you here?
I was going to let him leave.
Oh, very quick question. It was brought to my attention by a resident of Flower Hill, and I just brought this to Frank's attention. On Birch, I don't know what the number is. There's sort of this house,
It's next to Bob McNamara's
and
old house.
supposedly it was sold 3 years ago. And then there was, maybe they put in an application for something and it was denied. I'm hearing it secondhand. But the person who asked me said, what's going on with that house? And I looked, you can't even tell it's there because it has a for rent sign in the living room window, but it looks like it hasn't had any upkeep and somebody must mow the lawn, but beyond that. So I'm just wondering if there's been any.
I don't have any information.
That's
Is it
the tree that's right down.
111?
Yes.
I think she's talking about 111.
So many houses.
We should
So it shouldn't have a for rent sign in the window
I
anyway.
thought
Yeah, next door.
We could ask we should get that tree removed.
It's-
I thought there
It's
was somebody-
between Bob
I know
McNamara's,
the house,
you know
yeah.
the house, right?
Yeah, it's been the subject of, I know builders have looked into, contacted them over the years, because it's been,
So how long can it, and like maybe this isn't for you, but how long can a house go like that where it's just,
Empty,
yeah?
eternity.
I think the issue is.
As long as-
they don't mow the lawn?
As long as the property is being properly maintained, as in the lawn.
So
as
have we
in-
look at it? Okay.
But that doesn't change.
What?
The only thing you can enforce is the upkeep. You can't enforce anything beyond that.
No, right, so I mean, if things are falling off of it and, you
So
know,
in
it's.
the case, so I was trying to speak until I was cut off. As long as the property is properly maintained, lawn mowed, shrubs cut, the house itself properly maintained, as in if there's a house with, let's say, a tarp on the roof,
Thank
we
you.
would get involved with that. And we'd issue a violation until they fixed it. If not, there is precedent in our village to go and do that property maintenance. There was a house on Drake Lane 15 years ago that was in ill repair. And I believe the village went in and maintained the house when they weren't, the roof was, a tree fell through the roof
Yeah, I
and
remember.
various things were happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember. So we have that. If someone wants to own a property and do nothing with it, it's their right. Now, putting the for rent sign in is not allowed, so we can quickly have our code department.
Yeah, just maybe
Reach
have them
out.
drive by.
We can have them reach out to the homeowner, and if they don't remove it, we'll have to deal with that accordingly. But this is America. You can kind of, if you want to not live in your house, you can not live in your house.
No, but I mean, maybe to have the code enforcer go by and see what, update the condition of it. Is there things that aren't being done? That's all.
And our code department
It's all
does, and they
Are they-
inform us when there are homes that need that type of service. And that's why this board voted to have the village perform property maintenance on 3 properties recently in the last 2 or 3 months.
Just
So
drive by then.
it's something we
Are they
continue
up
to
to
do.
date on tax bill?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure.
This is the guy who doesn't.
We have a few properties like that. There's a house by me. No one lives in it. That's their choice. You have the Public Works report. I'm going to go over my mayor's report. You've got that. We got Roslyn Fire. Rich left out in his Public Works report, but we finished our annual road work this year. And that's why we paid for it in this month's bill. So we did parts of Mason Drive, Dartmouth, Drake, Hemlock, and Birchdale. We will reevaluate our roads for next year to see what.
He
needs
worked
to
on
get
Berkshire
done.
till almost 9 o'clock that night to finish. Yeah, nice.
They wanted to get that. They got a late, they tried, they wanted to do everything in one day.
Yeah.
Birchdale was the last road they were trying to do, and they didn't want to delay it to another day.
Yeah,
So
nice. They did a decent. Now wait, these are different guys.
this is
Stony.
McGowan, who did other work in the
But not
village last
Stony.
year. Correct.
Because this is a nice job.
Yeah. Other than that, they're still working on the Port Washington Boulevard, Middle Neck Road. My update will be in here. Gary, myself, and Marla met with IMEG Engineering about the sewer study. And IMEG is still pushing forward to try to get some vital information from the Port Washington Sewer District so that we can move forward with the feasibility study. Without this data from the sewer district, we're kind of a little bit stuck between a rock and a hard place. Next board meeting, as I stated, will be 9/8, and on 9/7 is Labor Day. I'm going to make a motion to close the public portion of the meeting, and I think we need to go for about 3 seconds into executive session. You want to update us on the contract issue?
Who's seconding that?
Second.
Okay. So
Okay.
All right, so meeting adjourned. You have to
Well,
to
no, we're
exec-
going to executive session for like a minute. I'm hoping that's just an update. So
turn
we all
back to turn
voted.
off.
Yeah, Marla's, Heather's going to turn it off. Yeah, we're done. Thank you. We're voting to go into executive
Yeah,
session.
yeah,
Yes,
let's
you
wait
can
till we
kill
go
it.
off.